Welcome back to HGC North America, where we are in the middle of the action of, I will nail it this time, Team 12 and HeroesHearth Esports. 1-1, we are tied up after a bold move, not only a map selection out of HeroesHearth in the last game, picking Brax's holdout, then a supportless, there was support-ish Abathur and a Rexar comp.
I mean, technically, Rexar supports Misha. Yeah, that's one of his abilities is to heal.
That's a really good point.
Technically, yeah, still no support.
Yeah, still no support.
That was just wild. Again, we noted it before the last one, the amount of times that we've seen Braxis banned all the way down the road. That was every single one of their series in the first part of the year. It just continued, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, it's like, surprise, we feel pretty good after game number 1. We're going to do something a little bit different. I think that might be, again, like one of those pocket strats that you kind of put back, reevaluate, maybe try out something different.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at where we're going for Battleground number 3 between these two teams. After that loss, HeroesHearth ends up going with the first pick selection. Team 12 taking us to Infernal Shrines.
Yeah,
it's their best map, you know, one of the most picked at least here for Team 12. No surprise that they're going to kind of opt into that after the Dragonshire, you know, kind of fiasco.
Yeah, they've had a lot of success. You know, I guess I'm sitting there. I really wonder where these drafts are headed because they've been a little bit unique, a little bit unusual. The first game we saw the Stitches Chromie on the side of Team 12. Yeah. Last game, obviously, we saw something pretty wild from both teams. This one, you know, the lack of Tyrael thus far, and I think there's so much of the Garrosh changes that I'm really surprised that we haven't seen more Tyrael up until this point. So I think this is going to be a battleground that if you're going to go that route, but the threat of Diablo, very much real. The threat of Garrosh, very much real. We saw Garrosh banned out last game from Team 12, not wanting to deal with that. We'll see if that trend continues.
Will be an interesting one here. Expecting to see the Medivh ban still out of HeroesHearth.
But I do wonder if they'd be willing to not ban the Maiev Medivh and then see what Team 12 wants to do with it.
If I'm HeroesHearth Esports, I would argue I'm not willing to take that risk yet. I think I wait until I go one more game before I get to that point. Just because it feels like it's unless I have a heavy counter strategy to it, it just feels like too bold of a risk versus right now in my mind, I look at this as HeroesHearth and I go, I just lost a game where it was supportless with Rexar and Braxis holdout. Congratulations. Right? Like I'm going like, yes, it was probably, you know, pretty well thought out cheese and successful in scrims, but I just go mentally, I view myself as like, I'm still feeling good about this series. I want to take you on even footing. They're going to disagree though. They take the risk now. Ridding of Diablo. I mean, that immediately goes, are you willing to ban Garrosh / HeroesHearth is almost 100% going to first pick this Garrosh.
The thing is that Dansky on one side for Team 12, very well-known Medivh player. We see Arthon, he's been able to play Medivh. If Team 12 elects to neither ban Maiev or Medivh, if you're on the side of HeroesHearth, which do you prefer? And I think, in my mind, early on, my initial thoughts are that if Maiev isn't banned, you take the Medivh, you give up the Maiev, and you can fall back on a Johanna because she does well objectively on this map, as well as kind of like a pseudo counter towards Maiev that you're not under as much assault as some of the other warriors. So maybe that could be a long-term strategy. We'll see.
Either way, we're taking a lot of time here to figure out what Team 12 wants to commit to. I feel...
I think that's their best bet. Willing to play into the Maiev on this battleground, I think, is okay.
Not being willing to play into the Medivh. The control he provides a little bit too much. So we see the Medivh removal. It's not an immediate Garrosh, which I thought the Diablo ban after they first picked Garrosh in game number 1 would be enough, but it's again that kind of Maiev threat. Is that enough for them to be able to take the bait? I personally feel like if you're willing to ban the Diablo in that area and you originally intended to, it does not matter what the response is. You have to go in that direction. Otherwise, your choke might be a little bit too severe.
You know, we've seen a lot of passiveness towards the Maiev drafting in Europe, but still here in North America, see a lot of high priority on it. We're not changing anytime soon because that's going to be a first pick Maiev.
So then, 14-12. Last time we saw them in this rotation, what do we get out of them? We got a Genji Malthael. Granted, the Genji, I mean, I'm going to assume is going to stick with it. We've seen them prioritize the Genji above all else through, you know, the first 2 games. It's not one of the more outstanding maps for him. So maybe it would be justifying to get the mix-up because of that.
Yesterday, Team 12 picked up Tychus early on.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
And I wonder if it's a matter of, but that was with the Diablo.
There it is.
They go with the Tychus again.
But you wanted to hit the Garrosh. Yeah, I was going to say, if you take the Tychus there, and after the Diablo ban, then you surely have to commit to it there. Because if the argument is, you know, the Diablo with the Garrosh, that is a big enough choke by denying one of the synergies and then also picking up a pretty good one of your own with that Garrosh. It's a huge power play here for Team 12. And all because of that Maiev kind of let through. And how is Heroes Hearth going to justify it here?
Really wondering if we'll see them go down the Stukov route to kind of pair with that Maiev. Maybe you could go Maiev, Johanna, kind of get that synergy going with the Stukov. It's kind of been a natural pairing that we've seen for a lot of our teams. If not the Johanna route, then where does it lie? You've already taken the Diablo off the table. We saw Anubarak play. That's an old favorite from earlier this year. I wouldn't mind the Anubarak to kind of deal with that. If you do get tossed over, you find a way right back in to your side to safety.
I want the Tyrael that you were talking about before. I want the Tyrael out from them. So much so I wouldn't mind if they didn't even wait. They picked it up in this rotation. It works well with the Maiev. If not, I want to see something to remove those counter momentum like a Blaze. Instead, they go with a Malthael and a Hanzo. The Hanzo, not surprising, but the Malthael is a little bit more so. Just because now there's no opportunity to get a full deny on that counter momentum in this skirmish in the Warden's Cage. Because you can't deny both Tyrael or the Blaze. Only one or the other. That in mind, you might be just calling out Team 12 that if you commit to the Blaze ban, that they aren't going to Tyrael Garrosh. Which, honestly, is a pretty safe statement, I think.
I don't know how I feel, but I understand the Malthael against the Garrosh. I'm just not sure I'm entirely sold on him yet. I mean, you've shown all of your damage at this point. So if Garrosh is your primary blow-up tool, and you've got to worry about Maiev, obviously supports you can look at for Team 12. You can literally pick anything because you already know where the damage is coming from on the side of Heroes Hearth. The one thing that will be interesting for me is yesterday they also picked up an Alex Straza on this Battleground, which we know does contribute to the Shrine quite a bit, as does the Tychus. So will they be willing to commit to that? They did pick that up in their last pick. So again, for them now, they're banning out the Johanna, making sure that they don't have that frontline control, giving Garrosh a little bit more to work with.
Now that the Johanna's banned out, I feel like the Tyrael is like has to be picked. It feels necessary. If not, you got to be moving into the ETC, and that doesn't feel too great with this style of composition. I always like the ETC into the Garrosh. We talked about it earlier. I was hoping we get more ETC today, but this doesn't feel like the time or the place. I'm going to assume, again, a Blaze ban here from Heroes Hearth. Put more focus into the side lane. If you don't commit to that, is there any other offlaner that is really concerning? They even ban out the Alex.
I would have liked the Blaze far more than I like the Alex Dread. I mean, you were bringing up the point. It's something that they like to play. You know, yesterday they did play a Jaina on here as well. Seen on the side of Maiev, Hanzo, Malthael. Those are fairly squishy targets. Obviously, Maiev can kind of evade some of that, but if you catch them on that front line, I mean, that could be pretty explosive damage. It gives you that clear, but now, again, the dive threat of a Malthael, Maiev, Hanzo, the Hanzo obviously not so much, but Malthael, Maiev, it's not terribly intimidating. That's more to deal with the front line. So I wonder if they will go for more of that backline control.
Something I haven't considered either yet would be the Sonya, which, because the Malthael was picked up, we're on Infernal Shrines. Would they go into it? No, it's still going to be that Blaze and then pairing it with the Stukov for Team 12. Stukov over a Malfurion, which they had the opportunity to move into. Probably going to find more counter momentum again towards that Maiev moving in with that Warden's Cage. Never want to deal with that. Massive Shover or Flailing Swipe, both pretty good disengage. Lurking Arm's okay, you just can't out-heal it. Thankfully, you've got a nice little bunker. A little warm. That's always where I imagine, you know, if Hearthstone was to be played in Heroes of the Storm, it's inside that bunker. Like, you know, you're in a tavern when you normally play Hearthstone. I think it's inside of Blaze's bunker. I don't know if Hearthstone even has any lore, but I'm deciding that that is, in fact, how it is done in Heroes.
Do they have any lore? I guarantee there's going to be some people out there that are like...
yeah, and you'll be like, oh, duh, they're from the Warcraft universe with here's the million books that were written on this, you dingus.
Support! Is it a Lucio? Is it an Uther?
I want
Malfurion, who somehow is still around.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's Tyrael Mouth. I mean, I I feel like we posed a lot of, enough before where I'm like, okay, that's expected, I guess, here so far. Maybe we posed enough of the other options, too, that HeroesHearth, they're going to commit to
now that they see the Malfurion, Jaina into Tyrael, not so much, right? Because you generally try and get that big blow-up damage. Tyrael can kind of, keep that at bay a little bit. But I wonder if they're still willing to go down that route, because yesterday on this Battleground, they did pick the Jaina into a Malfurion.
I wouldn't be against it in this case, even with the Tyrael on the other side. You have the option to pick Welly, be pretty effective into Maiev, Hanzo, or Malthael. All of those is really annoying. Malfurion, the impact that can have, and even that in mind with the 2 that they can go against it. They're going to go with the Tracer. I don't know how I feel about that Tracer, Jay. How I'm real torn. Like, part of me goes, ooh, I like that. There's a lot of squishies. That's going to make Tyrael's have a hard time keeping people alive. Like, Malfurion can't heal through that. But then I go, but the teamfight phase, the map, and everything else about this makes me kind of hesitate with the Tracer. I think I'm more on it than I'm against it. But it feels a little bit out of place.
If you're more on it than against it, I'll be on the other side for you. I'm more against it than I am on it.
All right.
Obviously, there's the ceiling potential of that Tracer is obviously high, but opportunities on Infernal Shrines feel different to me when it comes to Tracer. And the one thing I think that they do have to look forward to, there's no point-and-click lockdown outside of a tether that can kind of bring Tracer back. So there's no hard CC for Tracer to deal with. So I think that's kind of on the definitely a big plus for Tracer into this composition as well as the squishies. So maybe that's a big part of this.
As our screen kind of goes black for a moment, we are getting in the game for game number 2. In case you guys were wondering what happens on our end.
We sit and watch the game in the dark.
I don't even have my stool today. I've just been standing the whole time. I'm the tryhard. I agree with you. Infernal Shrines functions in a unique manner, for the Tracer and the opportunities available for her. I just feel like this is one of those cases where there is not enough between the Tyrael Malfurion alone and not having a traditional warrior offlane with that, the Malthael. That makes me go, I think that might be putting too much pressure on Ishbu on the front line to be able to keep everybody alive, especially pre-10. That it might give enough of a lead for Team 12 to make it happen. Because again, this is the best map here for Team 12.
Well, Krone again on the Hanzo. We'll see how much value he gets. Did go into Redemption at level 1. Likely the Explosive Arrow at level 4. You can see Arthon already trying to get value out of that tether. Unable to get anybody really pulled in there for that control. And HeroesHearth being very respective of the potential kill threat here early on the side of Team 12.
Pretty big rotational advantage for HeroesHearth earned so far. Nice use of the weighted pustule, landing onto Crowan. Kira going to come in, trying to get the track down. All blinks used. The scattering arrow damage was, plus the Storm Bolt. It's enough. Now Arthlon trying to cut out, gets the heal, gets the Moonfire, and he is going to get, oh my gosh, keep himself alive. The fact that that reveal happened in that shrub, I think is single-handedly the reason Arthlon was able to survive, because everybody lost that fog for a moment, thought they were going to give up, see the Groundbreaker and go, wait, we already took that pause moment, and then they lost the kill. Oh, wow. HeroesHearth here, first blood, and a lot of pretty dancing from them.
Well, you can see now after the Gale Force spray going down one more time, confidence doesn't seem to be...
Who has that? Is that Arthur or is that
That
Crowan?
was BBJ that time.
Ooh.
I think they all do. Normally when one person's in on it, they're all in on it. That's kind of the thing about HeroesHearth. They're kind of the embodiment of a fun team, but a very focused and dedicated team. It's kind of, personality-wise, fun-wise. I like, Arthon going in deep here, Dread.
Yeah, he was in deep a bit before. Going to get the two-man tether. Lurking Arm trying to deter. Drops a Vault Buds. Eats a bit of damage from that smite. Now Crowan taking all of that damage out from Dansky. Uses the passive over the wall. Dodges the Pulse Bomb. That debatably could have gotten the kill. Good job from him.
Just to kind of put it into context what we were talking about earlier, Hanzo 17 and 24 on this battleground in terms of his wins to losses. That's a 41.5% win rate on this map. And considering that his overall win rate is at 60%, this is by far his worst battleground. We'll see. With this build, this is probably the more optimal build. We see a lot of variety, but I think people are starting to settle in on this with the Redemption going into the Explosive at 4.
Especially into that Garrosh. 27 seconds out from that top objective. Both teams ended up picking up this camp. Arthlon not going to commit to the tether yet. They both ended up picking up the camp towards mid. The defense, in theory, the Tyrael, Malfurion, Hanzo, that is the trio that you really want around this siege, you know, since the game changes in 2018. But it's going to be met better there by Team 12, even forcing Arthalon, you know, after that flip. Pulse Bomb comes in, enough to get the kill. Very well done. Started all with Justing there on that front line.
Malthael getting a head start up at the top there. Not going to get much as a Malthael, only going to get a handful, and we see the rest of the team starting to rotate up. Tracer trying to thwart off the rotation there. Hanzo, he's going to make his way up.
That's 3 times in 3 minutes Arthalon has been out of position. Something has got to change on the confidence there out of that role right now. McIntyre going to get choked down. Enough healing from BBJ. Pulse Bomb committed. And he's going to be out.
Charging that up quick, Dread. I mean, he is charging that up quick. Crowan trying to confirm a kill. You know, saw Justin. He recognizes that scattering arrow is a pretty real threat. He backs away there. Slight lead in terms of experience in favor of Team 12, but they have not done much in terms of control on the Shrine. And you can actually see Blaze on the minimap just kind of double soaking right now. That's going to continue to increase quite a bit, and you can assume that's probably going to be doing some structure damage here soon, forcing out the Malthael rotation. Blaze going to make his way up.
How many skeletal defenders will HeroesHearth have by the time Blaze shows up? They're going to need 9. Kira even goes in, gets the slap there with his W. Ishbu follows up on the Eldrarune. Oil going to be thrown down by Goku. Set aflame. Now Arthalon in a bad spot. Uses the vault. Follows up in the shadow. Still 7 more needed here for HeroesHearth. They're going to get aggressive. They move up. Tether going to pull back 2. Nobody pulling the trigger onto Justing. 5 more. 3 more now necessary. 2. This is Punisher going over to HeroesHearth Esports after that root.
They got to get a lot out of this Dread.
Yeah,
I mean, they find themselves almost a level down just because of that double lane soak and the kills that happened right before that. So they need to have somebody go down, get that soak, try and get this wall, and then make something else happen in those lanes, because this Punisher and their composition isn't made for natural sieging beyond this unless Arthalon can see him kind of looking around, seeing if he can get somebody. Instead, he's going to get tossed back in. That was a fun interaction.
Yeah, it was a really wild one for a moment. Front wall is all she wrote there for that first Punisher. Crowan sees that 3-man Punisher leap and suddenly goes, wait a minute, we might be able to get more out of this. They stick around a smidge longer.
Ishbu went back in.
Yeah, eats a Pulse Bomb. Gonna get the lurking arm. Flipped over. Not a lot to say about that when you're gonna be silenced the whole time. Malthael and Arthalon actually getting in 1 versus 2 into a Blaze. Gonna find themselves that off laner. So a near even trade.
Just Ishbu going back in there. I'm not sure what he expected to accomplish, but good follow-up on the side of Buds to get that lurking arm down on his way out. Things just, we've got ourselves a game here.
If that pick did not happen onto Arthalon within the time frame that it did, I believe it was Arth that went down in that last rotation, right for the first Shrine spawns. I think HeroesHearth has a lot better, you know, kind of chances over how that unfolded. So I feel like this is still got to be pretty comfortable for HeroesHearth. That in mind, Cure is making the Tracer look good, you know, at the earlier stages. And once Heroics hit, you know, the math problem of, you know, Tracer gets a lot harder to be as effective as he has been. But I do think, you know, he's putting up a pretty good argument.
We'll say the play of Justin right now, he actually blocked that scattering arrow again that could have potentially taken down Cure. He's Justin is very, very aware of his position and his role as the tank, and he does such a phenomenal job that sometimes small plays like that, you know, they're kind of underestimated, or kind of underrated. And, you know, obviously, you know, Crowan with the skill that he has could have made a lot happen.
McIntyre is going to go ahead and start the Shaman camp for HeroesHearth as Team 12 round out their Heroics. Not going to see any major adjustment from anybody. Both Stukovs are an option. I don't think we're going to see a combustion, but if we did, I would be one happy camper. I think it would have a, you know, a hard time into sanctification, but it'd be cool, you know.
I would not complain. Again, ever since Cattle did it, nobody apparently can do it better. Stukov waiting on his. Malthael trying to decide if he wants to go last rights. Crowan getting a little bit of poke damage here onto Dansky. Roots go down as well, but all for naught. Just buying a little bit of time. HeroesHearth, they're going to fall back and defend here.
So what do we see happen with the attentiveness towards this top half of the map? Goku doesn't pick up the Shaman camp to match towards top. We saw that, you know, Blaze does do far better with the PvE game due to his splashing autos, and more importantly, that level 1 picked up. That AA speed is so good at helping with this.
Team's pretty even so far. We do see that Shaman camp that was picked up just a moment ago in favor of Team 12. That's going to have to be responded to by HeroesHearth before the Shrine phase. Instead, they might be looking for an opportunity elsewhere. hiding in the bush. I don't think Team 12 is going to take this bait, as you can actually see the pings already.
See how much value this tournament is still going to make happen if he ends up joining into this fight. Arthlon's going to get silenced.
Kron almost got that takedown on the Cure, who already used his recall, and that's kind of a big element. If you're going in for that pulse bomb, you have to generally have that recall, especially for that parting gift. That's going to be a long ways away. There's the taunt, the pulse bomb. There it's going to be used, but the vault is going to save Arthlon. Tranquility out as well. Odin in response here for Dansky. They're putting the pressure onto this shrine.
But Ishbu held on to Sanctification. They still have the Sanctification opportunity to get the all-in. This is a huge win. The fact that Trank was the only thing used. There they go with the Dragon Blade. Tormented Souls, Warden's Cage, Sanctification. Everybody gets into the bunker, locking it down. Tracer's going to be the first to drop. Dansky gets a flailing swipe to keep him alive, but not for long. 3-0, and that was exactly what I was talking about. No one but Malfurion used their heroics. All it was a vault, and that was so many resources for that original initiation. Heroes Hearth just goes, wait a minute, we can regroup and just dominate. I mean, let's be real here. That Dragon's Arrow hitting and that choke made it that much better, but Heroes Hearth, very well done. The control over the comms, over that moment there. Part of the reason they have the success they have.
It's the synergy. It is the absolute synergy and trust that they have within each other, to trust that Arthlon's going to be okay, to trust that you can have that follow-up. And everything they do is mostly reliant on those big combos, so they make those combos happen. It's their best asset, and they don't ever have compositions that are fully reliant on it. Sometimes they do, but rarely do they do. They have so many regular options as well as the big combo options. And right now they're putting a lot of damage here. They're going to push this all the way in. This is one of those moments, Dread, that we talk about a lot, where you kind of wonder, could the team rotate up and maybe get value, maybe in a different lane, because this is pretty much done for here.
The commit to the turret might be worth it.
Tychus and Garrosh.
At least they committed to something, but then there's that collapse. Arthlon's on an island of his own. Goku can win that one versus one. Tranquility's got to be forced. Odin is used. Very curious Odin drop there.
Arthlon getting stunned. Can he get over? Cure on the chase. Arthlon, you can see McIntyre was positioning himself for the body block in case it was needed. Pulse bomb's going to be there.
He has Sanctin too if he doesn't want to use it for himself, though. That is what I love about Ishbu. Holding on to his sanctifications, realizing a one-man sanct, that means nada at this point in time. The next team fight in 30 is going to mean a lot.
It's really funny because when you think about cooldowns of heroics and things like that, you kind of wonder, like, all right, you know, if you look just strictly at the shrine spawn, you're looking at, I think it's somewhere around 145, 2 minutes between shrine phases, somewhere around there. But fights in competitive happen about every 60 to 70, maybe 80 seconds at most. There's always going to be that potential for a fight in that. So the point that you're bringing up right there is, in that next 30 to 45 seconds could easily be a fight, and they need that. And if it does go into the next shrine phase, then you're still there. So I love that you brought that up.
Yeah, it's the second time I've seen, I feel like, insane amount of control from them. Not the second one, but the first one, absolutely. For a sanctification to not be dropped in that moment after you Eldruin's followed up and the Tranquility is already popped. Normally you just go, we got to take the 5 versus 4. But then, again, that kind of control, even with the nerfed cooldown on Vault, they still got it here for Heroes Hearth. Team 12. Without the 16s available, the Heroes Hearth is playing a little bit more passive, realizing they kind of are, risking their opportunity if they want to take any skirmish. So instead, forfeit over the Shaman, pick up this camp on bottom, and then once 16s happen, I'm expecting some form of an invade, definitely aggression.
Yeah, no holy ground, though, too. I think that's kind of the bigger thing. We go back and forth on that, but no holy ground there, no way to contest. 16 has been picked up. They're moving forward. You can see the Sonic arrow going out, trying to gain vision, trying to see, but that ding of the camp being picked up will be enough of an indicator. Next shrine phase, Dreadnought, top lane here. It's fully opened here on the side of Team 12. On the side of Heroes Hearth, they still have a lot to fall back to, including that well.
This is an insane rotation for Team 12. If they commit to this, they are. They're going to commit to
They're going to give up.
This is
they're going to give up
worth.
key
This
ball.
is absolutely not worth. They're going to lose a lot out of this. Because okay, so what they're doing is now going to be losing not just this initial, kind of race trade, but a double front wall trade for keeps versus forts, miles better for Heroes Hearth. And you're like, duh, Dread, I know that keeps are worth more, but I'm talking raw numbers-wise, damage-wise, and more importantly, over this next Immortal that's going to be prepped on top. As long as nobody gets caught here, just here, and even then, it would be okay. They are totally comfortable, totally fine. The only thing that decision did do for Team 12 is it 100% secured 16 during the Shrine phase, which means they need to make this matter. Tychus still yet to get it for them.
If they lose the Punisher, Dread, that keep is now bye-bye.
Yes.
It
might be game now.
Yes.
They opened a win condition because of that decision making. HeroesHearth is, or Team 12 is banking that this fight is going to win for them.
Goku already on the front side. Justin getting the flip back. Nice El Druin's over. Pulse Bomb is used. That is a big-time play there for Ishbu to be staying alive. And now the damage in return here by HeroesHearth. It is 16 versus 16. Team 12 absolutely 100% needs to win this to better their odds. And Justin making the plays.
The groundbreaker and the taunt, they landed on the Hanzo, and it's enough to get the first kill there. No Crow and Flailing Swipe pushing all the members back there. Nice amount of damage coming out from Dansky in that Odin form still. Sanctification is still available. Goku gets caught out. He's going to be body blocked there with the same groundbreaker, unable to hit anybody. Tether, and now it's 1-for-1 as HeroesHearth fight back, find themselves a kill. Pulse Bomb goes in, damage is there after the lurking arm, and now Team 12 pull ahead.
They had to, and I wonder, is HeroesHearth willing to commit? Are they willing to commit the Tyrael death here? They're 8 away. Can they get in? Poke down a few, use Tyrael to go in and get this. Giving up a Punisher at this rate is not too bad, but Ishbu and Arthon, they are committed to this. Ishbu willing to sacrifice himself. Get that trait value, 5 away. He's going to die. You can see the toss away was trying to get him away from those skeletal defenders.
2.
That's them 2.
They need 2 more. Arthon, will he go with the shadow? He will. He commits. Can he get him? 1, 2, he will. There's the Punisher now for HeroesHearth Esports, but there is 50 seconds. Even Dragon Arrow comes in here. They are 50 seconds from all 3 members that are now going to be dead. Malthael looks to join in, but nothing's going to happen. This is just a free clear now for Team 12. And we find ourselves at what is near a dead even game now.
Yeah.
After that all-in play from Team 12.
You know, it's one of those situations that you rarely see. It's like, are you willing to commit everything to get this Punisher to deny it? If you're on the side of Team 12, the answer is yes. If you're on the side of HeroesHearth, you say, maybe. There's a fort still standing there. You give up experience in that, but you take away experience that they could have potentially gained from that Punisher. So it's always a trade-off. I kind of like to see how it plays out because it's so rare that we are in this situation.
So now we see HeroesHearth. All 5 members have risen from the dead. Justing, anchoring there. Very offensive positioning. They know that Malthael's here because he captured that bottom camp. They're going to flip him over. Groundbreaker taunt. Now Dansky coming in. The bigger they are, is he going to fall? No, not today. Crowan, he's got the opportunity to use the pass. Pulse Bomb. Sanctification keeps him alive, but that's not the Sanct they want. Arthon got the tether back, and they end up getting the kill. This is now Team 12 without a Garrosh, without a Tychus. HeroesHearth wins the most improbable team fights, J-How.
Oh, they're winning big time because Buds is about to go down. Blaze caught on the wrong side of things. 3 members down. You know, they're going to push forward. This keep already exposed. We'll see Arthalon will use his vault to at least try and dodge one of these. The minion's still a few steps away. See if he goes in. Obviously, you want to get your tank up there first to try and take those shots. Kroan stepped up just a tiny bit too early. Now we see that control to keep going down. Multiple members, they might be looking to end game here.
Yeah, I think it's very likely they're going to be able to do so. Goku comes in, gets damage onto Ishbu. Who's going to tank the core? Arthlon lands the tether. It's going to force the recall, not Cure. It's a bit of the focus. Crowan clears up the minions. They're going to make it onto the core. Jet propulsion not going to land. And Goku drops now. Still 8 seconds till Garrosh ends up making it, but they're going in.
Oh, man, they're like, look, I dare you to come in here, try and drop this pulse bomb on me. I am surrounded. I am safe. And that is going to be HeroesHearth taking down the core. 50% and falling. Pulse Bomb's going to go on to Kroan. He's going to be left alive. 20% and falling. Garrosh and team, they're here, but it is not enough as Team 12 has fallen in a team fight that just turned on a dime there. Just stopped on a dime and turned in favor of HeroesHearth. And it is all about the control that HeroesHearth is able to obtain. That was money.
That's money.
Ishbu that game, not too shabby.
Also, Arthalon on my app. I said it early on, 3 minutes in. This is 3 minutes in, 3 times Arthalon's out of position. Almost every time past that point, with his vault, you could argue out of position. You could argue calculated, especially around that first run, right? But almost every other thing past that point, like that last fight, think about it, right? You're looking at the setup, the prep, and everything like, but who's the person that made sure that fight actually happened? It's Arth. He has an insanely deep shadow with the 2-man tether that gets the pullback. Then they overcommit to the fight. So, like, there was 3 moments where he took equally as offensive, but each one of them worked out for him. And I feel like that was definitely, you know, again, past that early stages of the game, the laning situation, he was on point on the Maiev.
It's cool. Now it opens up really big questions when we come to our draft because we saw the Diablo ban and we saw kind of the shift. It also depends on the battleground. I think Infernal Shrines does complement Maiev pretty well. So Now I kind of wonder, where will the draft kind of shift? The Garrosh, is that really going to be the one? Again, Garrosh's win rate on Infernal Shrines, not the greatest comparatively to some of his other Battlegrounds. Although Justin did play it pretty well, it's just a matter of, does it functionally fit within there? The Tracer pick, you and I kind of questioned a lot. The Pulse Bombs were there, but could you have gotten more out of, say, another hero?
Yeah, it's hard
at
to
that
tell.
point. It's really struggled.
I will say that, that's one of those, like, looking at that performance, I didn't look at any point of that game and I go, that was a Tracer pick, right? Like, I looked at it and was like, it's having an impact. It's trying to make plays, but they aren't making it work. Heroes Hearth is doing really effective things on the other side. It's just one of those moments where I raised, ooh, this doesn't feel like good. You and I kind of fell on slightly different ends of that. Both of us were definitely, like, not totally behind it, but where is it going to go? And it just hits that type of situation to where it's like, it's hard to point at it and be like, no, this is bad. But at the same time, it's like, hypothetically, in theory, could we have gotten more? You would normally assume yes. It's just one of those, we'll never know, sadly. But I agree with you. I still think that, it wasn't the Tracer as a problem, but definitely something left to be sought after.
My favorite part about that we got to see was Heroes Hearth. Everything that I said about them coming into this year was they have great synergy. They have a lot of combos that they like to execute. And when we see games like that, where we see the big combos, when they finally come together, it looks so good. It sounds so good. Everything that they do, and that's kind of when they're in their rhythm, doing their thing. You might have thought, were they deflated after game number 2? The spray is going down very early in the game. The confidence factor is still very much there. So a team like Heroes Hearth, not very much shook. And, there was actually a very, I guess, philosophical style, very insightful tweet coming out from Ishbu. I think it was just yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, about the mindset of what do you do in a loss, right, and things like that. And he thinks that, if you can take these in stride, make something out of them, obviously it's very different, but paraphrasing here, but you can actually do more, you accomplish more, and it shows more about your mental fortitude and moving forward. And I think after taking that game number 2 loss, didn't put too much weight into it, come out here, and now they find themselves up 2-1.
Yeah, especially, again, I was talking about that a little bit with the kind of draft that they had. I think that one is very easy, kind of dismissive mentally for the members of Heroes Hearth Esports. But you talked earlier about the momentum that Heroes Hearth has kind of been gaining as a group and more of where they're headed, because I feel like this is one of the stars of North America. We're going to take a closer look at, again, where they were and where they're going to be going, as there is a lot of W's at the later stages. They started out struggling at the beginning against Team Freedom, Tempo Storm, brand new team, makes sense, but everything past that point, it is terrifying when you look at Heroes Hearth.
I couldn't agree more. The fact that they've put this type of streak together, obviously that Gale Force one, they probably like to have that one back just a little bit, but after their opening weekend of Tempo and Team Freedom, which at the time were the 2 best teams in the league and still are up at the top, just all we do is win.
All we do is win is what Heroes Hearth is feeling right now. I don't think they ended up playing, Fnatic. There was a text in the middle there. Up against Fnatic is what we were probably using that for somebody else. But if they did go up against Fnatic, I would still probably give it over to Fnatic for now, even though they have their struggles. There's, you know what?
Oh, I totally thought you were going to be, I would still give it to Heroes Hearth. When you said I would still give it to Fnatic, I'm like, my heart.
I have a North American heart. It's just a lot smaller than everybody else's. It's like a Grinch-sized heart compared to everybody else's passion.
So Crowan does this.
Regions just don't have that much. Yeah. Regions just don't have that much value to me, man. It's all about just better team, better play. Who cares where you're from? I just want to win the video game.
I'm with that. I like it when you win with different heroes, but,
Heroes Hearth Esports here versus Team 12. Again, this is not a crazy result that we're at right now, sitting at the 2-1 with the lead for Heroes Hearth. But I definitely think it is one that if you didn't see yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever we had the Team 12 series, I think it was Friday. Yeah. Whenever we ended up having that series, if you didn't end up witnessing that, I think you'd look at this and you go, unexpected, but not out of the realm of possibility. After that performance, now I'm looking at it and going, like, I almost kind of expected this, but it still feels wrong, right? I mean, this is Team 12 we're talking about. Roster that has been, these players have all been either number 1 or number 2 or 2 or 3 for the past year and a half in North America. And now they're getting rivaled by the 4th seed. And they look good, like good in the process of taking them out. It's not like it's they got the macro, they got the cheese. They're just outplaying them.
It's Heroes Hearth, man. They're on the come up. Again, if they don't drop that series to Gale Force, they literally lost their first 2 series coming to HGC.